Tea party.
Tea party.
UB5.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for some tea. I should have fixed tea. I didn't know it was tea party.
Yeah, neither did I. We should have had tea.
Yeah.
That's
Although we're out of the good black tea.
That's unfortunate.
Remember how tastelessly awful the Lipton chai I tried to make
God,
was?
that was awful. What the hell is this music? Erica, Flanor, where you at?
Yes, my master.
You called. I just wanted to get all three of us in the room talking to each other so we can make our voice actor, who does all three of our voices, shift between three radically different things all in the span of a couple seconds. Sound good to y'all?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
That is acceptable to me. Die the death. I want you two to stay in this fragment and explain everything in the remaining first through fourth games. That pitiful transient witch who supports the illusion of the witch no longer exists herself. Expose the naked truth thoroughly, alright?
Leave it to me, my master. Get ready, because if you hear your theory here, you know you're fucked. There is no riddle that I, Furuto Erica, cannot solve.
Of course. That's why you're my piece. My double. I'm gonna be over here with the popcorn. We're almost out. Lambda Delta brought in one of those like big old-timey popcorn machines. And we've been moving through. Do you realize how much popcorn you eat when you're not paying attention to it? It's a lot of pop. It's a lot of popcorn.
Which popcorn do you think is each witch's favorite type?
Lambda Delta eats popcorn just slathed in like that liquid cinema butter. And nothing else. Bernie eats kettle corn. And I have a feeling that and Erica has popcorn but covered in like cocoa powder, peanut butter powder, some vague buttery substitute, and also cocaine.
See, I was thinking Erica has the popcorn that's the mix of the cheddar cheese and the caramel, so it's a mystery what you're gonna get in each bite.
That's horrible. Yeah, that sounds like her. And also cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get down.
Popcorn of champions. That's the real pepcorn.
Berncastle wore a massive and horrible smile, which Erica shared.
I'm imagining one smile stretched across the two of them.
Ew. Beatrice's illusion of the witch would disappear, and the results in all the previous games would be painted over. So let's hear your theories, because there's no way these are the correct ones. It had been crushed in every way possible, and only the naked truth remained. Such a weak truth was no better than the fish on the chopping board for Erica.
It's possible to explain all the past 4 games with Natsuki as the criminal, or with certain irregularities based off that theme. I won't let anyone say it's the crime of the witch Beatrice again. I'll start compiling it together at once, then present a first-rate tale to you.
You mustn't leave even a single fragment of Beato's legend of the witch behind. The rumors among the servants, the way people talked about unexplained events as though the legend was the cause. The illusion of the witch that worked alongside the illusion of Kinzo. Deal with all of them, completely.
Of course, I'll get to it right away. We now have the future furniture in custody. We're hurrying to identify their vessels.
The 7 sisters of Purgatory had already been taken into custody. Those noisy sisters who had served Beato now faced nothing but denial. What sort of illusion were they based upon that allowed them to manifest? Everything would be exposed and denied. Eisern Jungfrau has already begun its investigation. According to the most recent results, there is a high probability that they were constructed during the 1960s in the vicinity of New York. An aid has already been sent to the location. The 1960s. The 7 Sisters of Purgatory are made in USA. Even though they bragged about being furniture connected with King Solomon and serving a 1,000-year-old witch, they're a total sham. Who was it?
According to the report, there's this big group of big-time swindlers who make money by selling fakes to rich fans of the occult.
Because the deceived millionaires tried to resell the fakes as though they were real, there's a chance that they have been falsely deified by enthusiasts in the field. We are rushing to find confirmation and further details.
Susurumia Kinzo was a sucker who'd pay big bucks for any fake occult objects.
Yeah, that tracks.
Okay, that does track, though. But it still means he had him on hand. And that's what the Seven Sisters of Purgatory are. That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Total sham. Just like Beato's illusion of the witch.
Though they call themselves the Seven Deadly Sins, they're actually cheap, fake souvenirs. Well, from the very beginning, I figured they were nothing more than paperweights sold at some shady souvenir shop.
Paperweights. Paperweights. Have you confronted the Seven Sisters of Truth with that truth yet? No, not yet. They still seriously believe they were created by a great sorcerer over 1,000 years ago.
You just switched to their voice.
Oh shit, I did. This is so hard.
Yeah.
You still seriously believe that they were created by a great sorcerer over 1,000 years ago? Sorry, I guess that's what they call the Ushiromia family curse.
Yep.
Haven't had that happen before. Don't want it to happen again. I'm very content with my voice, and I don't want to have anyone else's. I'd like to confront them with the perfect evidence and the truth the right way. And let them know that they're mere paperweights worth less than $30 US.
When you do, I wonder what their faces will look like as they lose all hope.
Decided on the new Birdie voice.
Giggle, giggle. I can't wait.
Woo!
I will not keep up that Bernie voice. Call me when that happens, okay? I'll come to watch with some of the best black tea and dried plums. Beato's illusion of the witch had already been penetrated, and it's been proven that everything was simply the result of human delusions. What kind of delusions created them, and what caused these in the first place? When the answers were proven perfectly and shoved in the faces of those concerned, the illusion would vanish and be completely annihilated. This is what they meant by execution. An execution is not a show. As a general rule, it is not made public.
This is an inspection by the Great Lady Berncastle, member of the Senate, so she can observe that the Great Court is performing its duties satisfactorily. Do you, as a mere Inquisitor of Heresy, wish to deny this right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm just observing as a representative of the Senate to make sure you follow the proper procedures when you carry out your work. Giggle, giggle, giggle.
We're currently preparing to take Virgilia, Rodove, and the Gap into custody as well. The Chester Sisters, our Imperial Guards, are conducting that investigation. Of course, we'll then detain and execute those three connected to Beatrice.
Delanor, what was the true nature of the Chester Sisters?
Wait. We just learned that Berncastle is also a member of the Senate.
Didn't we
Senator Bernie?
Well, if I do say so myself.
Well, I guess this voice is sticking now.
Fucking Ryukishi07 called the results of the Vermont Senate election.
To be fair, I think Bernie was already in the Senate when this game came out. Bernie's been there a while.
Really?
Yeah, when did he become senator?
I have no idea.
It's been for a while. Yeah. We believe there's a high likelihood that their vessels are weapons used in the crimes. For this purpose, Senior Aide Gertrude has formed a special team. We are currently investigating all cases.
I'm looking forward to the Chester Sisters' execution, too. One at a time? Or all of them at once? Nah.
No one's stupid enough to put it in a kind of these upon at once. You've got to enjoy it slowly, one spoonful at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have their executions on consecutive days. For the furniture and for the witches, one by one. I'll send you an execution show every day.
Well, that's just wonderful. After all, there really are a lot of them. Looks like we'll be able to enjoy ourselves for a full 2 weeks. Maybe we can let them decide which ones to execute first. Make sure you think up something great for the execution concept. I'd like to enjoy executions both old and new, from east and west, every day.
The rules state that the method of execution is to follow great court regulations.
Leave it to me, my master. I will most certainly prepare you a fascinating execution show.
Oh, and you'd better quarter at least one of them. Draw and quarter. That's what we always say. And while you're at it, make sure you cancel all student debt.
Okay, wait, what was that last one?
Oh, don't worry about it.
Of course. I shall make a list of the best forms of execution from all countries, from Europe to Asia, which were used by kingdoms east and west for crimes no less than treason against the king.
I like to think up some execution methods myself. Pondering that will be a perfect way to relax on those sleepless nights. After I've done a big long filibuster, I'll earn out my ideas and send you a letter soon.
You're really going with it.
At least for this chapter, don't think I'll keep it, but for this chapter where I've got to juggle this many things all at once, just let me have this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Certainly, my master. Then we'll have the Burn Castle style one as the grand finale. At the very end, when all the illusions are broken and Beato's magical compendium has been completely crushed, I shall present my master with the finest of executions that she desires, the execution of Beatrice.
Well, thank you, Erica. Thanks to you, it seems I'll be able to forget the pain of my illness for a little while longer. If you'll excuse me, I need to head down to Burlington and walk on the waterfront, drink some citizen cider, and maybe drink a good woodchuck.
Hold on, what's another local one? Hit me.
Fiddlehead?
Oh, something fiddlehead. You're just perfect, my piece, my double, my adorable daughter.
Your words are too good for me, my master.
Okay, I'll stop now. Erica, I'll give you an honor and a reward. And that reward is the greatest symbol of Beatrice, the portrait from the reception hall. Take that off, smash it to make firewood, bake a cake with that and eat it. And then I'll allow you to put your portrait up in the remaining frame.
Erica ate a fucking painting.
Thank you very much. I got splinters in my mouth, but I did it.
She would.
It's a great honor. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need something because I'm starting to feel pain again.
You will eradicate and release Beatrice's name and all traces of her. Until that is finished, I will order that you be made the master of this sealed-off Rokkenjima by the name of the Witch of Miracles, Burn Castle. I proclaim that you will be given the rank of witch until that day. From now on, you will call yourself Erica, the Witch of Truth.
The Witch of Truth? You mean I have to do this voice for 4 more chapters? Thank you very much, my master. I vow to work even harder so that this honor will not be wasted.
Even though
Unlike
she
me.
was... What?
This honor will not be wasted. Unlike me.
Unlike me. Now, if you excuse me, I think I have some abs with my name on it. Well, it's actually Kinzo's name on it, but I mean, like, it's mine now, right? Right? Yeah, it's mine now.
Finders keepers.
Even though she was nothing more than a piece, she was being granted the honor of calling herself a witch like her master, if only for a brief stretch of time. Erica was so moved that her actions had been acknowledged in this greatest form that she trembled. Lanor, continue to aid Erica and report on her progress to me, okay? As you wish. By the way, where's Lambda? She is over there. She was saying something about being pop. Cute. And excellent. From the guest seating on the second floor, she pointed downwards. Lambda Delta could be seen beneath Battler, who hung there, dead and pierced by a red longsword.
Who sure owe me a battler? You were an interesting guy. And you might have become even more interesting, but too bad. You won't be appearing in the next 3 chapters.
What a wonderful way to die. Without universal health care. I don't know what's gotten into me. Please help, Lambda. Ever since I learned I was a senator, I keep feeling these weird urges. Erica, you can hang Battler's corpse in the mansion reception hall, okay? Next time I come to visit this fragment, welcome me in front of it.
Certainly, my master. I'll make that foolish man an eternal monument to my master's victory.
That sounds wonderful, really tasteful. Maybe you can coat him with plaster and make a beautiful white statue. And it'd be wonderful if you decorated him all cute.
Yes, Lady Lambda Delta. He will be pop. I will strive to answer to your expectations.
Congratulations on becoming a witch.
Wait, so I'm actually a witch forever now? They have a big turnover rate, don't they?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Though it'll just be for a while, I'll welcome you as a friend.
Erica was so overcome with emotion that tears came to her eyes, because for a piece, no greater pleasure exists than having your work acknowledged by your master. In the end, I'd like to have Beato stuffed too. Then I'll decorate the reception hall with her.
Galaxy Express?
The one that isn't Knight on the...
You know, I read that back when I wasn't a witch. I always thought it strange that humans who obtained eternal life would become so cruel. At the time, I honestly couldn't relate.
What are they?
Book that's referenced in everything.
Oh, is it the same one that we were picking out? Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah.
You also played a VN that referenced it, I think.
Yes, it was. That was that one. Yeah, okay. You're right. I don't remember what the title is, but I do know the one we're talking about now.
After becoming a witch and living 1,000 years, I fully understand it. That writer could understand our cruelty really well, in the truest sense. Who's talking?
Where will you go next? I bet we'll say farewell with our backs turned, right?
That's because I don't want to let you get bored. Oh, we got them swapped.
It's because I don't want to let you get bored.
Thanks, Burn, but you can be sure I'll count to 100 and then start searching for you again.
You really don't let a person get bored. That's why I like you, love you. Let's meet again somewhere, okay? However, we may not be reunited for another 100 or 1,000 years, if ever.
That's okay. The Sea of Fragments is tiny to a pair who love each other.
The third man.
No, Children of Paradise, of course.
You could escape the poison of just a single evening's worth of boredom. Each time you smash one of those countless fragments that glitter like a starry night. Even you would want to count the stars in the sky.
Oh, not bad.
The Voyager witches travel across the countless glittering futures of possibility and gobble them up, trying to escape their illness called boredom for as long as they can. The tiny, tiny fragment created by the human known as Beatrice had now been gobbled up by the two witches. The human known as Beatrice. And had lost its glitter. The two who had earlier called themselves rivals in front of Beato now stopped that charade and laughed together playfully. Erica, new ruler of this fragment. Weave the truth and create the tale that leads up to this world's demise. The next was the 6th game, wasn't it? Oh no, that's gonna be a midterm year.
Yeah, it's the 6th game.
Decide the title for episode 6 yourself, okay? After all, you're already the spinner of this tale as well as the master.
Thank you very much. Actually, I've already decided on one.
Oh, already? Then let me hear it. What kind of title is it?
Yes, episode 6. I'd really like to leave you hanging for a bit, but I'll tell you.
Come on, stop being a smartass and tell us. A newbie witch like you shouldn't be teasing your seniors. Or else.
Or else what?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Episode 6, Checkmate of the Golden Witch. Nah. Oh, we have fun here.
Well, shit.
And we just got an achievement that says Checkmate featuring those 3. Well, we have one more tea party.
Oh, Bernie and Lambda.
Oh, gotta love them. The tea party of those who are
Bern
not...
Castle, the independent senator, and Lambda Delta, the Republican Senate majority leader.
Yes!
Oh, I do not like that Lambda Delta. She rubs me the wrong way.
In the cathedral devoid of people, a figure could be seen still staring up at the heavens, its chest pierced with a long red sword that pinned it in place to the ground. And that figure was Battler. Ironically, it looked just like what he had done to Beato with blue wedges in the 4th game. Battler had died quite some time ago. No, in this place the concept of death means nothing except that one has stopped thinking. Therefore, in a sense, Battler was not dead. After being defeated in a fight over the truth and surrendering, he no longer had the strength to think of a way to resist. That is what made him dead. Delanor's massive longsword, which had been left in place of a tombstone, fastened Battler to the spot even after his death. This was all being lit by a faint light seeping out of an incredibly high skylight. Quiet footsteps rang out across the still cathedral. From the darkness behind a pillar, a woman slowly stepped forward. It was Beatrice. Just like they'd been the whole time in the Golden Land, her eyes had no light in them, and were still muddied over with gray. This person was once unable to even drink black tea to her satisfaction by her own will. But though it was slow, and though there was no life in her eyes, she was surprisingly walking.
It's a Christmas
Then-
miracle. Sorry, it's a Halloween miracle.
We do not celebrate Halloween in the Senate.
Then with slow, deliberate steps, she reached Battler, who was still dead, pierced through. Then, she slowly touched Battler. She tugged on his sleeve. However, Battler showed no reaction. When she realized that it wasn't sleep but death, the witch with the hopeless gaze let her head hang even lower. Then she quietly whispered,
You liar.
Beato softly touched Battler, and then she pressed her forehead against Battler's chest. There was no longer any heartbeat. It wasn't just because he had surrendered. It was because the witches had chased him from the game board. So from now on, Battler would never return. So from now on, the Golden Witch Beatrice would have no reason to exist.
Thank you, liar. Goodbye. And... sorry. Change the world. My final message.
We can't do that joke twice in the same episode. This is an emotional moment and you're ruining it. I thought the birdie bit was funnier than this. Then the Golden Witch completed her task and scattered as a spray of gold. In the Golden Land, the gray rain gently continued to fall. There was a faint aroma of good black tea. Beato stared blankly at its surface. There was Virgilia, continuing her knitting, along with me and Glonor talking to each other. This is a recollection. A recollection from Battler's memory, which Delanor's sword must have given him as it pierced him. A recollection of that time Delanor had come to visit the tea party in the Golden Land. It is the same with me. The next time we cross swords, I will not hold back. Bring it on, I'll be your opponent. Come at me with all you've got. Hit me with your best shot. I promise. With everything I've got. Delanor, huh? I thought she was an emotionless killer doll without a heart, but maybe she actually is pretty approachable. Though of course neither of us will show any mercy when fighting over the game board. For a while we gazed at the rain-drenched rose garden as we quietly enjoyed our tea. Still, it really is terrifying, the way you fight. Nux's 10 Commandments or the Decalogue, wasn't it? Those classic rules of the mystery genre, right? Yes. They are commandments conceived by my father. Hidden doors must not exist. That's Nux's third, right? That means there's no need for detectives to even look for hidden doors. Sounds pretty ridiculous. Berncastle said it herself. She said that because they were forbidden by Nox's third, even searching for hidden doors was a waste of time. I'd like to counter it by saying it probably isn't so uncommon for a rich family's mansion to have a hidden door or two built into it. But apparently that sort of rule works perfectly well in the mystery genre. By the way, there exist many wonderful mysteries in which hidden doors appear, and where hidden doors are the theme. Of course, this is limited to novels which have the premise that hidden doors exist. If that premise does not exist, hidden doors must not exist. So because that premise doesn't exist, there is no need to search for hidden doors. I think that's probably the essence of her ridiculous argument. It's like the detective trying to expose the truth, and the illusion trying to confuse it with a mixture of truth and lies, are getting blended together, blending to a bizarre form of argument similar to a devil's proof. Making a closed-room murder to seem to be accomplished by a witch with magic is fantasy. Supposing that it was a human's crime done with tricks is anti-fantasy. Examining all possibilities to expose the nature of those tricks is mystery. But it is also mystery to claim that possibilities with no hints supporting them are unworthy of investigation. Let's say hidden doors hidden in a way that there would be no clues. Will claiming that a hidden door therefore exists even though a detective couldn't find it be anti-mystery? That's enough of that. This argument is too far of a digression from the riddles I'm actually supposed to be solving. My fight is very simple. I'm only fighting to explain how it was possible for a human to carry out these crimes that were supposedly carried out by a witch. This whole discussion about mystery and anti doesn't serve any purpose. That's why I didn't have any particular interest in regarding these rules known as the Nox Decalogue. Do you dislike Nox? It doesn't work for me. There's something strange about making it possible to deny the existence of all hidden doors without investigating. It's about as dubious as a devil's proof. Even though it's supposed to be the exact opposite of fantasy, it somehow feels like the same kind of argument. I shouldn't have said that, I'm sorry. Your dad was the one who made him, after all. Do not worry. After all, there are some who say it is nothing more than a silly game.
The Decalogue feels like something very arrogant to you, right, Battler-kun?
To be honest, yeah. If an actual detective said he didn't need to look for hidden doors because they must not exist, everyone would start looking around on the floor to see if some of his screws had come loose. In that case, Battler, let us say that the third commandment didn't exist. In that case, what would happen to closed-room mysteries? What if Nox's third, hidden doors are forbidden, didn't exist? In other words, hidden doors would always work just fine as the standard trick for closed rooms. This does not refer to hidden doors with hints or foreshadowing. It refers only to doors that even the detective cannot find because, of course, they are hidden.
Battler-kun, you often fight by using a devil's proof, assuming the existence of an undiscoverable element X. That's what this is about.
That'd be horrible. The closed room mystery genre wouldn't be worth reading at all. And if it were no longer worth anyone's time, it would cease to exist. No one would want to try solving the riddle from the beginning. Not if they knew the answer might just be an unforeseeable hidden door. Unless you have some guarantee that no hidden doors exist, you don't really feel like trying to reason it out. I see. The Noxus Third is necessary. Without that, it wouldn't be worth reading a closed room mystery, huh?
And if you didn't feel like trying to reason it out, what would that lead to?
Means you wouldn't even want to read it. That's it. Humans are weak creatures who cannot even think unless they have proof that reasoning is possible.
That reasoning is possible. In other words, they need encouragement to let them know they can solve it if they work hard enough.
That might be true. It's the same with exercising. You're told to run around the campus 10 times if you can tough it out. However, if you don't know how many times you're supposed to run around it, you'd probably get tired out before you made it around 3 times. The same thing goes for thinking and reasoning. Humans view a problem differently depending on whether or not it's guaranteed to be solvable.
In detective novels, there's always a scene where the detective announces that he's discovered who the culprit is. That's a sign saying the hints have all been given in the previous parts of the story. So dear readers, please try to reason it out.
Oh yeah, I always thought it was just a classic line, but I guess it does also have that effect, doesn't it?
To put it harshly, till the detective says that, readers won't feel like trying to solve it, no matter how much they love solving mysteries.
You sure? You've been trying really hard, buddy. Weren't you like that yourself in the previous games? Now that I hear it, maybe that really was the case. Maybe my fight against Beato really began in the second game. At first I didn't seriously try to tackle the closed room riddles Beato threw at me. After all, I knew nothing except that the people had died in a closed room and the windows and doors were all locked from the inside. I mean, seriously, talk about having no hints to go on. So I refused to argue on the grounds that I couldn't fight, because the lack of clues made reasoning impossible. After that, didn't Beato sneer at me, asking whether I'd repeat over and over, forever in an endless repetition of moves? At that time, Beato said this.
Of course not. I'll give you the thing people like you always demand. The reason you always stop thinking and then moan about it is lack of information. If you're then given information, you start doubting whether the information is true or not by denying the basis. Isn't that convenient? What clever little words to hide your own incompetence.
Then she said she'd give me certain information that couldn't be denied, and created the rule called the Red Truth. Once we reached that point, the curtain finally rose on my battle with Beato. So that's when I finally had a guarantee that I could solve this tale if I tried. And I stepped up to the stage with her for the first time. Beatrice. She's a strange person. Though riddles are the only holes witches can live in, she began to give you the Red Truth, a method by which those riddles could be solved. You could say that the Red Truth is a hint Beato gives me so that I can compete in this war of reasoning, like candy. Because I've been given hints, it's like she's saying, try and solve it, for it can be solved. An enigma that's guaranteed to be solvable can't be called a true enigma. Isn't this almost as though Beato herself is admitting that she isn't really a witch?
My, that does seem logical. She truly is a strange child.
Beato gave no answer. With gray eyes, she did nothing but blankly gaze at the steam rising from her black tea. My father created the Decalogue to act as a crutch for the power of thinking. It most certainly was not made as a way to arrogantly decide things. A crutch for the power of thinking? That is right. By Nox's 8th, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. This does not only mean that one is forced to avoid making theories that are not supported by clues.
If you turn it around, it means that the one proposing the riddles is forced to display clues that lead to the solution.
So in other words, if you follow the Decalogue, all riddles must have hints, and therefore it is guaranteed that finding the solution is possible. I see. So this is what they mean by the crutch for the power of thinking. If you can believe that it's solvable, you start wanting to have a go at those riddles. If you're capable of believing that hints do exist, you get fired up about rereading the story to search for them. I'll admit, that might have the power to give courage to those trying to solve it. You seem to think the Nox Decalogue is a series of restrictions imposed by the one who made the mystery. But it is also vital for the readers. By using the Decalogue as a crutch, we are given the courage needed to use reasoning, as well as the willpower to reread the tale several times in search of the clues that we know must be hidden there.
Is this the chapter where Ryukishi is just like, hey, if you haven't reread it yet, go do that now?
Yep, I think this is the chapter that where a lot of the message is, hey, this is doable. If you haven't yet, please try this.
Yep.
And within the constraints of how we're playing this on YouTube, I think we did a very level go at it. It's like the lid of a jar of jam that's too tight and won't open. Like Mom always used to say, if you think you can't open it, then it really won't open, no matter how hard you try. See? It won't open? Won't open. Real fake jars. The same thing happens in sports. They say whether or not you have a strong image of yourself and believe you can win no matter what has a large impact on the records. Also, you must exclusively be cisgender, but that is something else. In that case, the Nox Decalogue isn't really a set of arrogant and strict restrictions. You can also see it as a way to encourage readers who are trying to solve the mystery, by telling them to give it their all since it's definitely solvable. It's an interesting way to interpret it. Still, I've heard that not all detective novels around the world follow the Decalogue all the time, right? When you bump into one of those, won't you feel tricked? Even the Decalogue is nothing more than a single interpretation, and it cannot be applied to all mystery stories. Though among fundamentalists of my father's work, it seems that there are those who harshly criticize works that violate the Decalogue and call them heresy. There's no end of arguments like this in the mystery world. Was this or that famous detective novel really a fair mystery? In other words, one that followed Nox's Decalogue. That sort of argument is already an eternal theme of the mystery world. In fact, in mystery discussions, arguments like these sometimes become even more heated than discussion of the actual tricks. Well, I can understand why they'd want to criticize it. They try to solve it, believe it's solvable, and follow the Decalogue, but it's actually not made to be solvable like that at all. I can understand how that'd get pretty annoying. That's right. When fighting with the Decalogue, there's just one thing you want guaranteed from the beginning. In other words, you want a guarantee that this detective novel will adhere to the Decalogue. If a work labels itself as an orthodox mystery, then you have nothing to worry about. However, the mystery genre contains many unorthodox subgenres within it. Does that mean trying to use reasoning in an unorthodox detective novel is a complete waste of time? Well, looking at it that way, it really does feel arrogant, doesn't it? Yes. I also find it extremely sad that my father's Decalogue has been used as such an arrogant weapon. Then again, you just fought against Beato using the Decalogue as a weapon. Can I take that as proof that this game world of Beatos follows the Nox Decalogue? When I asked that, there was a strange silence. Virgilia, Delanor, and of course Beato all remained silent for a while. Almost as though my question had touched at the core of something.
That is something I cannot answer myself.
Oh, why not?
This is a game that this child made. A game to decide which of the two of you will win. This child has called it a confrontation between mystery and fantasy. But unfortunately, she never said it was an orthodox mystery. That means you have no guarantee that it follows the Decalogue.
But at the same time, Miss Beatrice has said that this game is a contest between you and her. In other words, there was a chance that you could win. Oh, in other words, you're trying to say that reasoning is possible?
If you asked this child, she would probably say that reasoning is possible. However, just as she is the challenger and you are the challenged, the two of you are different creatures. Something Beato might have proposed, thinking it is solvable, may or may not be solvable for you as well.
For example, let's say we propose a simple riddle that any Japanese person would know. However, if the person we're telling this riddle to is a foreigner with the Japanese-English dictionary in their hand, it might be almost impossible to solve.
Yep.
Yeah, could you imagine that? That'd be really fucked up, wouldn't it? In other words, it's possible to have a one-sided solvable problem, which might be easy for the questioner, but extremely difficult for the person trying to solve it. By the way, do you know of the foreign riddle, why do dragons sleep all day? The answer is, to battle the night.
I've never heard that.
That's
Wow.
That's fucking hilarious, actually. It's a riddle from the English realm, so it might be a little tough for a Japanese person.
For that reason, I cannot say for certain that this tale is something you'll be able to solve. However, I can promise you one thing. I will guarantee it with the red truth.
What?
Beato wanted you to solve it, so she made this game. The riddles of this tale, solvable.
I mean, we assumed that from the beginning, but it's good to know.
That alone I will guarantee with the red truth.
It was the one guarantee that all those who tried to use reasoning desire. I do not know if my father's Decalogue will apply to that answer or lead you to it. However, when you run into a tight spot and want a compass for your reasoning, please try using my Decalogue if you remember. It might give you renewed courage and might possibly even lead to some new discovery. Oh, thank you. If I'm truly stuck, I'll think about your fighting style. You sure it's okay to help out an enemy like this? Pay that no mind. I could wipe you on the heel of my boots. I came to this tea party without a gift. I hope you enjoy this in place of a snack. I also have some Tostitos, if you would like some. Actually, yeah, I could use one of those right now. How about you, Virgilia?
Sure.
Nobody doesn't love Tostitos, right, Beato? Nobody doesn't love Tostitos. And if you come face to face with me again, there probably will not be time to speak of such things so casually. Nox's Decalogue and Virgilia's Red Truth.
Beato wanted me to...
Beato wanted me to solve it, so she made the riddles of this game solvable. In other words, Beato wants me to be capable of solving it. Isn't that proof that reasoning is possible? Of course, that's from Beato's point of view. It doesn't necessarily mean that reasoning is possible for me. Compared to before now, when I didn't even know whether reasoning was possible or not, that one line might give me a great deal of courage. He has the power to silence any negative thoughts about this all being useless.
Unless the other party assures you that reasoning is possible, you won't do it. It's almost like love between shy young people.
Love?
Yes. Unless you have proof that the other person loves you first, you don't want to love them back, right?
Both boys and girls want to hear someone else say that they love them first. That is their dream. If they're in love, they don't want to love the other person until they're sure this person loves them back. After all, there's nothing as painful as a one-sided love, and the scars of the heart being left behind last a long time. Because they are afraid of that pain, they want proof that the other person loves them first more than anything else. I see. That is an interesting way to explain the relationship between writer and reader in a detective novel. Yeah, maybe you could liken detective novels to that. Both the writer and the reader first want the other party to say that they'll solve it, or that it can be solved. Until the writer is assured that the reader will certainly have a go at the riddle if they propose it, they don't want to write their story. The same goes for the readers. Until they are assured that they will certainly be able to solve the riddle if they try, they don't want to read the story. Because they don't want to write what they consider a masterpiece and be hurt when no one reads it. Because they don't want to reason about what they consider a masterpiece and be hurt when they realize it was all useless. I gotta admit, it does feel like that sometimes. It really does. But By that argument, it really isn't a stretch to say that it's like love between shy elementary or middle school age kids, huh? Even though they really do want it, they don't have the courage to reveal their true feelings. So they wait uncomfortably for the other person to confess, and by the time the summer ends, nothing has happened. More than that, sometimes the girl even ends up going out with an entirely different guy. That's what my first love was like. Yeah. Really?
Really, Battler? Really? We're doing this now? Okay, just double checking, buddy.
Along with these one-sided feelings they can't express, they lament the passage of a summer that will never come again, and the days of their youth end. The writer who wouldn't write until he gained the support of readers goes for all eternity without releasing his maiden work. The reader who waited for the writer's rise to fame goes their whole life without knowing the joy of the mystery genre.
Battler-kun, when does the chicken or the egg type of shy love reach the level where it can progress into mutual love?
Well, that's probably when things start to pile up. It starts as a relationship between friends, they communicate with each other more and more, and when the two both reach the level where they're sure that I like this person and they'll surely like me, well, then they probably just naturally become a pair of lovers. My impression up until now is that relationships starting with a sudden confession of love tend to break up more often, whereas pairs who never actually confess to each other but realize that they've always been together usually stay together for a surprisingly long time. In other words, this happens once the two of them believe in each other and a relationship of trust is born. Is that what you are saying? Oh, maybe. It's a bit odd. I've always thought the mystery genre was a battle between the writer and the reader, but maybe that's not quite right.
Yes, it's something that cannot go on without a relation built on mutual trust. A relationship with love.
Oh, if only there was a snappy way to say that. Don't you give me that face. So you're saying a relationship isn't one of killing each other, but one with love?
Though it doesn't look like anything more than a pair of elementary schoolers bullying each other to me.
Virgilia joked at us in a middle-aged woman sort of way. Still, though I'm not expecting a friendship or a trusting relationship, I can accept her as a rival. Beato is fighting at full force, trying to make me acknowledge that she's a witch. So I'll respond to that and go all out, trying to deny that witches exist. How can you be sure that Miss Beato is fighting at full force? Can't you tell that by looking? It isn't as though she has proclaimed in red that she is fighting you at full force. And yet, you still have no intent, you still have no doubts. You are the one who said you wouldn't believe anything except the red truth.
Surely this is that stage Battler-kun mentioned earlier, where communication increases and you learn not to doubt your relationship.
Virgilia and Delanor giggled together. One guy, multiple women, and the topic is love. Oh, look at this fucking Delanor face!
Yeah.
Wait a sec. Isn't this the worst possible formation for getting made fun of? When I tried to bring back a proper mood for a tea party in the rainy golden land by clumsily searching for a more noble subject, Virgilia saw right through me and laughed. Even amidst this, Beato kept looking downwards with those gray eyes, staring into her black tea. Yeah, that's right. Virgilia and Delanor have given me so many hints, and yet I barely thought about it at all. By now, it's all too late. Let me think. Now that everything is too late already, I've got an endless amount of time on my hands. Let me think. One more time, let me think about the red truth Virgilia gave me, and the crutch of the Decalogue that Delanor lent me. With the red truth, Virgilia guaranteed that at the very least, Beato left enough room in this tale for me to achieve victory. That red truth guarantee will once again give me the power to start my heart beating. And there's the crutch of the Decalogue, which Delanor lent me. Delanor herself warned me in the beginning that the Decalogue isn't so almighty that it can solve all riddles. However, she said something about how it could be used as a method to solve, or to take on riddles. Let me try it. Though there's no guarantee that this tale is a mystery or fantasy, let me believe that I'll definitely be able to solve it. That it is a solvable tale, a mystery, and let me take it on one last time. Oh god, I gotta stop getting stabbed in the chest. That is, 0 out of 10, would not recommend. When I came to, I was suddenly in that strange tea room where I'd often argued furiously with Beato from across that table. Of course, Beato was nowhere to be found. It was just me, isolated and alone. That's okay. Even so, I won't stop thinking. Okay then, what were Nox's commandments again? I'm sure Delanor explained most of them when slamming me with them. Of course, even I recall them vaguely. What was the first one again?
Allow me to speak. Nox is first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story.
When I muttered what the first one was, as if answering my question, Delanor's subordinate appeared. Without bothering with an unnecessary hello, she told me nothing more or less than what I wanted to know. Yeah, that's it. The first. The culprit has to be one of the people mentioned in the early part of the story. In other words, the culprit must have already appeared as early as the first game. True, that's the most basic of basics in the mystery genre. A classic assumption. A classic assumption? Have I really been keeping to that assumption? With each new game, the number of people in this tale keeps increasing. That violates the closed circle rule. By that point, everything gets screwed up. Did I give up on the inside? Thinking that the true culprit or mastermind must not have shown up yet? And that reasoning was therefore useless? If I read this tale as a fantasy, new characters keep showing up, to the point where even having demon kings or gods or creators appear wouldn't be strange at all. If even the true mastermind first appears in one of the last episodes, I'd have to accept it. However, if I read it as a mystery and stick with that conviction, then there's no need to worry at all about anyone who shows up later, because Nox's First clearly states that it is impossible for the culprit to be anyone who appears later on in the story. Of course, there's also what both Delanor and Virgilia said. There's no guarantee that this tale follows the rules of the Decalogue. So of course I can't deny the possibility that the culprit first appeared in the second game or later. However, this is one way of thinking. This time, I'll forget about the Devil's Proof completely, and try to borrow the power of the Decalogue in my thinking. After all, I've already said myself that I won't be able to reach the truth without a multi-angled outlook. In that case, that means the culprit in all of these repeating games is one of the 18. From the very beginning, there was no need for an illusion of a 19th person. Even if the first of Nox's commandments denies the existence of an unknown person known as the witch from the very start, if I'd followed that in the truest sense, I might not have suffered so miserably in the second game. Yeah, Nox is second.
Allow me to speak. Nox is second. It is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be employed as a detective technique.
Delanor's other subordinate appeared without a sound, and gave me an answer to my question. That's right. A detective can't go around using magic unless they're in a cozy mystery. Or if they're in an urban fantasy novel. I like the Dresden Files. I want the hat like that man has. So, if this is a fair battle then, does that mean that, like the detective, the culprit also isn't allowed to use magic?
Allow me to speak. Know that you are free to interpret it as you please.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sure, okay. I'll interpret it my way. If this game is a battle between me and Beato, then because this tale is solvable, no elements will appear that make it impossible to solve. In other words, things like magic mustn't appear. When they do appear, I shouldn't suspect that the mystery element is breaking down, but I should instead question why it was shown and suspect the witnesses and observers. And that's what we've eventually grown into doing.
Mm-hmm.
I admit I kind of hung on for a very long time to the interpretation that, it's just obscuring something and there's a different reading of the same text that believes it. But no, this is what it was telling us. That's right, that was Beato's greatest weapon in the second game. Depictions of magic which couldn't exist in a mystery.
Which couldn't existery.
Which couldn't existery. Oh my god, Gertrude, did you hear that? They couldn't existery.
Wow, got them.
Thank you. By showing me that, she forced me to think that this tale wasn't a mystery, and therefore that reasoning was impossible. And so I surrendered. However, if I had believed unshakably that it was a mystery, It would have been completely obvious to doubt the witnesses who claimed to have seen magic. Also, at the end of the first game, it was revealed that this tale was passed on to people in the future by that message bottle. Someone had written about this crime, this tale. In other words, this entire tale is a world that includes the personal opinions of an observer, namely the person that wrote that message in a bottle. In other words, the observer isn't God. It is a human. Therefore, there's no guarantee that this description is truly impartial. By the end of the first game, it was already clear that we've broken the constant premise of the mystery genre, that the story itself must be seen through the eyes of God. For that reason, it is possible to doubt even the observer as well as the witnesses. If I could have doubted this much, then no matter how many seemingly unsolvable displays of magic appeared, I wouldn't have had to blindly accept them and give up. However, that begs the question, is it even possible to solve a tale written by an observer who isn't impartial? If I get obsessed with this, all my reasoning will end up here. However, I had to believe that Beato was trying to fight me through this tale. Because it's a fight, that means I have been given a chance of winning. By giving me that doesn't mean that reasoning is possible. This part is tough. Unless I believe that the cruel witch took on the risk of losing to try to have a fair fight with me, I can't get past this part. Just like Virgilia said, it's just like love. If I can't believe that Beato is fighting me head-on with everything she's got, I won't be able to reason any further than this. Sure, I'll acknowledge it. Unless we acknowledge that we love each other, we won't be able to get any further. When Virgilia ran out of patience with the two of us, shy and incapable as we were of acknowledging that out loud, she gave me that red truth instead. Was that red truth saying Beato wanted me to solve it, so she made the riddles of this game solvable? What the hell? It's like Satu-chan in Class A says he likes you. Like hearing a love confession via a friend. I really am pitiful. Reasoning is love. If we don't love each other, the reasoning won't start. Without love, it cannot be seen means without reason, it cannot be seen. Fuck off. Fuck off.
I don't know that it says that.
In that case, how can we say that we love each other? You think you can solve it, you just try. You're incompetent, like hell you can solve it. Yeah, according to George Oniki, people like that are called Sundora. That brutal rich is finally starting to look a bit cute. Why does George know what Sundora is? Never mind. If I meet her again, I want to try saying, "You're such a Sundora." If I meet her again, somewhere. Ooh. Tell me the other parts of the Decalogue. I don't care about the order. Give me something that seems useful.
Allow me to speak. Nox is 8. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Allow me to speak. Nox is 6th. It is forbidden for accident or intuition to be employed as a detective technique.
It must not be solved with clues that aren't presented, and it must not be solved by relying on accident or coincidence. If this tale is made to be solvable, we can read this the opposite way. In other words, clues must be prepared so that the case can be solved, and it has to be made in a way that can be solved without relying on coincidence. If I can believe that Beato is challenging me to a fair game where reasoning is possible, then I can be sure of that. In other words, Beato has already left me clues, hints, and messages in this tale. It isn't from the Decalogue, but Erica or someone said this. There are 3 riddles to be exposed in a mystery. One is the who done it. Who is the culprit? One is the how done it. How did they commit the crime? And one is the why done it. Why did they commit the crime? All of this means that clues related to these 3 riddles are already present inside this tale. No, strictly speaking, it's like this. Because she wanted me to solve these 3 riddles, Beato scattered hints about, though whether I'm capable of catching those or not is another matter. Even if you think a riddle you proposed is easy, it might be difficult for the person trying to solve it. In that case, it's only natural that there will be a difference in how difficult each person finds it. Therefore, as Beato goes through each successive game, she watches me closely and tweaks the game as needed to get a good arrangement. When Beato realized that I completely surrendered the second game because it was too hard, she's secretly worried. If I surrendered and lost the will to fight, the game would no longer remain on even footing. Therefore, in order to make me regain my will to fight, from the 3rd game onwards, she set things up in a way that made it easier for me, giving me tips on how to fight, and a few hints. Virgilia and Ronove obviously appeared so that they could help me. Also, though we still had the usual crazy magic shows, she gave me the metaphor of the brawn tube trial, as well as tips on how to fight back. I finally understood how to fight, and most likely at the end of the 4th game, Beato managed to have the all-out showdown with me that she probably wanted. Then Beato acknowledged that my abilities had become full-fledged, and entrusted me with her heart. She entrusted me with explaining this tale, didn't she? In that case, it really was dumb of me to boycott most of the 5th game just because I was so disgusted with those 2 witches. It doesn't matter who the game master is. All I need to do is search for the truth in Beato's game. On the contrary, I should probably thank those 2 witches just a little for continuing the game in Beato's place, now that she's gone and left everything to me. Of course, I doubt those evil witches were trying to do anything of the sort. Culprit, crime, motive. The answers to those 3 ultimate riddles, the hints, must be scattered throughout the previously shown tales. It is probably a very faint light, like trying to find breads that have fallen onto a sandy beach. Beads. Not breads.
No, I like that version. Battler running all over the beach trying to pick up baguettes. Wow, it's so hard to find these.
Where is my fucking sourdough? Someone get me my sourdough. Oh, this is rye, Virgilia. I will not stand for your rye. They're definitely here. However, they're so faint that unless I believe strongly, there's no way I'll be able to find them.
Please, allow me to speak.
Oh, what is it?
Go back through the tale. Know that you will be given them as long as you don't lose sight of the truth's faint light.
Right now? Through this tale?
Know that for reasoning to be possible, a trusting relationship is required.
Yeah, I know. In fact, maybe I finally noticed just now. It's something that has been repeated over and over again throughout the tale, persistently so. Without love, the truth cannot be seen. Slowly, the tea room dissolved into darkness. Then, as though I was slowly sinking into a pitch-black sea, I passed through the crevice of the long journey I'd taken with Beato, and kept on falling and falling. It was a bizarre experience, like crossing over the boundary of sleep while still conscious. The several tales before became faint bubbles, were they small shining fragments, and were scattered like stars amidst a pitch-black sky. I kept sinking on and on into that sea. Shit, we're gonna have to pause on all those, aren't we?
Yeah.
The tales up until now, one after another, Virgilius guided Dante to Mount Purgatory, and brought him to the feet of the eternal lady who waited at the top, Beatrice. Therefore, the innermost depths lay not at the bottom, but at the peak of Mount Purgatory. The eternal lady had been waiting there for Dante the whole time. And then I knew. I finally reached the truth. To the depths, no. To the peak of Mount Purgatory. Idiot. You really are an idiot. Ugh, that hurts. Fuck! He awoke from the sleep of death, and bit by bit his sense of pain came back to him. On Battler's face, which still looked up at the heavens as he hung there pierced by the longsword, a suffering and alive expression gradually returned. You really are an idiot. A huge idiot. Battler noticed. This whole time, Beato had been snuggling up against him, sleeping. And when he held her, he knew that it was not Beato, but her crumbling remains. So when Battler just tried to hold that form as fragile as ash, then just like a sandcastle made on a beach washed away by a small wave, it fell apart and lost its form. At Battler's feet lay nothing but the ragged remnants of Beato's dress and a pile of ash. No, on top of that pile of ash, he could see something sparkling gold. was the husk of a single gold butterfly which had been torn to bits. And so Battler knew. I've definitely reached the truth. However, I wasn't able to do it while Beato still remained in this world. Beato, you really are an idiot. I finally reached the truth of this crazy riddle you've created, just like you wanted. I didn't lose heart and I finally made it there in the end. So why did you lose heart without waiting for me? You believed so strongly, didn't you? That I definitely reached the truth. So why? Why couldn't you believe with me and wait? You weren't the one who's been forcing endless torture on someone else. It's me. I've been the one putting you through such cruel torture. You resisted until the very end and kept on protesting to me. And even though now finally reached that truth, to think that you couldn't wait any longer. That it's all too late. You idiot! Why did you lose heart before me? Damn it! It's my fault. I forced her to endure this torture. In fact, she's been doing a wonderful job sticking through it for so long. Over and over and over again, you kept on protesting to me. And because I was so incompetent, it was as though I couldn't understand the truth. You idiot, your riddles are too twisted. Why couldn't you say it more simply? You fucking idiot! Duh! A scream of pain filled the sad cathedral. The sad witch who wasn't able to communicate the truth to Battler. The sad man who wasn't able to understand the witch's truth. Battler's howl of anger and sadness rang out for that pair. The clock hung in the cathedral showed that it was 2400 on October 5th, 1986. Time was up for everything. You're kidding me. Don't set something like a time limit on this difficult riddle you're so proud of. No, I understand. Even though there was such a faint chance of that miracle happening, you prayed for it to happen. You're just like grandfather. You prayed for and bet on the power of a miracle. One so unlikely that it was totally impossible. Less likely than finding a bead you've dropped on a sandy beach. But that means I've now truly arrived at that miracle. However, your time didn't last long enough. If I'd reached this point even a little sooner, I could have seen the truth. Even if I had been right before time was up, I might have been able to save you. But right now I've been run through pathetically. I can't even hold what remains of you. As I attempted to pull the longsword out, I tried stretching my arms and kicking my feet, struggling to at least touch her remains, but nothing worked. Shit, damn it! At that time, I noticed a golden glint on the palm of my hand. It was a single wing from a gold butterfly. That small fragment of gold was the only piece of Beato that I was permitted to touch. I cried with all my strength, gripped at that fragment, and pressed it against my head, apologizing. Why couldn't I reach the truth earlier? Then I pressed it to my chest, promising that even now I would never again lose the truth. When I pressed the hand against my chest, the sword piercing my chest cut my wrist and blood dribbled out. That blood spread throughout my fist, and it must have soaked that gold fragment with my red blood. It must have been the only way of telling her that I'd found the truth she wanted me to know about. I clutched the wing of the gold butterfly with my freshly bleeding hand and pressed it against the red sword that pierced me. At this point, Ushiromiya Battler knows, and he understands. He's found this tale's everything. At that time, it seemed as though a faint golden light leaked out of the gaps in his clenched fist.
So Battler's not only solved the epitaph, but also solved the whole fucking mystery.
Yeah.
And we, the reader, haven't. That is a ballsy move.
That is a very ballsy move, TBH. The two witches had their backs turned, and Erica was laughing at Battler's corpse.
That really is pathetic, Battler-san. I'll make your foolishness into a statue and for all eternity. Huh?
At that time, Battler's chest, the red longsword that pierced Battler, began to sparkle gold from deep within his chest.
Magical battler? Magical battler?
In that bright golden light began to change the red sword's color, turning it gold.
He inherited Kinzo's powers?
Oh, what is going on?
Battler is what? What is this?
Battler coughed up blood and groaned. His consciousness came back. His will to live, his will to fight came back. The red longsword that pierced Battler could no longer be described as such. By now it had become a golden longsword, and then slowly, gradually, it pulled itself out of Battler's chest.
This game's got everything.
It finally pulled itself free and started dancing through the air, then stood up in front of Battler's eyes as though it knew who its master was. Battler, crawling on the floor and moaning, grabbed the golden longsword, and though it looked painful, he slowly rose to his feet once again.
Oh, this sure is an elaborate act. Is this one of your tricks, Lambda?
That glow, it couldn't be.
Lambda stared wide-eyed at that bright golden glow in awe. When she noticed that Battler's resurrection wasn't part of a script that Lambda had thought up, Byrne also frowned slightly. Sorry. Retrials will not be permitted. Chester Sisters eliminate this resurrection illusion.
Understood. 45, 420, firing permission granted. It's unable to target. IFF error, code 999. Eek. 999, you say? Impossible.
The Chester sisters hesitated, unable to carry out Berncastle's orders. Lambda, what kind of farce is this? The illusion of the witch has been completely destroyed, and the trial ended with our victory.
Sorry, Byrne. You'll have to stick around a bit longer. Isn't that right, Ushiromiya Battler?
Yeah. Kept you waiting, huh? Sorry to keep you waiting, Erica, Berncastle. Now it's time for my truth.
Request for a retrial accepted. The Assembly of Witches retracts the adjournment of the Court of Illusions.
Objection? The trial has already been concluded and the results have been announced.
Objection overruled. All verdicts are overshadowed by new truths.
Objection. Not only has Battler been banished as a player, he also doesn't hold the rank of a witch. He isn't qualified to call for an appeal.
Objection overruled. He already does have that. By the name of Lambda Delta, Witch of Certainty, I acknowledge it. Ushiromiya Battler, I acknowledge you as the new Golden Witch. No, as the new Endless Sorcerer, Ushiromiya Battler.
Who called it?
You called that.
Who called it?
You absolutely called that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
High five. Woohoo!
What did you say? Battler got the rank of a witch.
The rank of a witch, which she had desired for so long, had been granted to Battler so quickly. And on top of that, this wasn't anything temporary. This was an official, proper authorization by Lambda Delta. Erica couldn't accept it and her face turned bright red.
Why, looks like that kid's game really will keep us entertained until the very end.
Sure, I'll play along. Erica, you handle this. The red truth you created with me is perfect. The construction of truth that makes Natsuhi the culprit is perfect. Battler certainly won't be able to break it.
Of course, my master. There's no need to worry at all. Anyway, Chester Sisters, my master ordered you to fire, right? How long is it going to take you to carry that order out?
Error code 999. An access code is required to target the Territory Lord. Yeah, I told you he'd do it, yeah.
Territory Lord? What controls this flagman? I do.
Territory Lord. You don't mean Battler is.
Yes, Ushiromiya Battler has been authorized as the official Territory Lord of this fragment. Yes, that's right. So, you still don't understand? You don't know what that gold sparkle signifies? He's reached it, Battler has. He's made his way to the innermost depths of all truths.
Oh, are you saying he's reached out to the truth?
I don't care for Persona 4. Persona 4 Golden was marginally more acceptable.
That means Battler's understood everything about this world, this tale, this game. In other words, he's reached the position of the game's master. I'll bet you don't want to believe it, right, Burn?
Yeah, I don't want to believe it. Okay, I'll test Battler to see whether he really understands everything. Erica.
Too bad, Erica. Just when you were finally appointed as the Territory Lord of this fragment, you've been deprived of that title. The new Territory Lord of this fragment is Ushiromiya Battler. Is it awful? Hey, don't you feel just awful? How's it feel to be deprived of that title just when you've finally gotten it? How does it feel?
Wah! Battler! If you think you can disprove my theory, just try it! It's impossible! It's impossible! The theory I've created has no holes! It is impossible to deny that Nazi is the culprit!
So, before we start this last part here, it seems from the game that Battler has figured everything out, even though we the readers haven't yet. So, just in case he is about to literally lay it all out here for this chapter, I figure we'd lock in our guesses.
All right.
Alright, so...
Call it now. Who is it?
He can construct a theory with someone other than Nazi as the culprit is a start. I think my next guess is Kumasawa.
I say Shannon.
You say Shannon?
Yeah.
Alright. I think Shannon has been pretty well locked down, but it'd be interesting to see, because she's in the guest room. But
I admittedly don't remember the red truths for this one as well, so...
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how it goes. I can construct a theory with someone other than Natsuhi as the culprit. It may be that your truth is impossible to disprove. If so, that means your truth won't be able to deny my new truth either. Surprised no one's pointing out, like, the literal contradiction where she says Rosa was alive at 1 but also died before 1, but, you know. Battler spoke with the red truth, allowed him by his status as a sorcerer.
A culprit other than Nazi? How's that? Delanor, let's see what this delusion of Battler's Sans takes us.
Sorry, I was in the
Women's room.
Slowly, Delanor stepped forwards. In her hand was the red longsword of the Decalogue. She also had a blue short sword. In Battler's hand was a golden longsword. The two rivals once again, no, for the first time, they truly confronted each other. Are we really rivals? We've only known each other for like 1 arc so far. Battler, I have been
Waiting.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Well, we really just did the kept you waiting, huh? We did that twice in the same episode. I hope nobody notices. You did
Not
Your return was sooner than I
anticipated.
Kill him.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Kill him. Kill him, Delanor, hey, Nox.
Delanor's form disappeared in an instant, as though her slow, dignified movements from before were only a lie. The curve drawn by the longsword of the Red Truth burned itself into the retinas of those who saw it. Before anyone had enough time to follow that curve, it was already approaching Battler's chest. Lady Erica's reasoning has solved the 5th game. No new facts... Oh, that's... Lady Erica's reasoning has solved the
5th game.
No new facts exist that overturn the truth created by this reasoning. It is possible to show a different truth by using a different interpretation. When multiple truths exist in parallel, the authenticity of both is questioned. In this closed-off world, it is possible for differing truths to exist at the same time. Furthermore, as long as multiple truths exist, it's impossible to claim that any of the truths are the single truth. In other words, if I can't overturn Erica's reasoning by questioning its credibility and conquering it, I can defeat it.
Burns' reasoning is perfect. You won't be able to overturn it easily. But still, if you can present a theory on par with Burns, the fight will come down to a verdict. That means either one of the truths might be defeated and denied.
What a laughable script. I'd expect nothing less from a demon's script. Then let me ask. What is this theory with someone other than Natsuhi as the culprit? Battler's golden longsword drew both red and blue curves at will. It is possible to construct it using the revenge of the baby from 19 years ago, the one from Aunt Natsuhi's confession. Nox is first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story. A person first introduced in the 5th game cannot be named as the culprit. What if the baby from 19 years ago was among us since the very beginning? I can't do this every single time we say this, but I just want you to know it's on my mind.
What if it's Shannon?
What
if Shannon's not as young as she says she is?
Interesting. I could see that.
Or Canon. But Canon seems younger yet, so...
Well, Canon was the 9th victim of... Maybe that baby's name was Canon. For example, what if it was me? Nox is 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Was there ever any foreshadowing showing that you might be the baby from 19 years ago? I mean, yeah, plenty of it. The red truth from the 4th game that I'm not the son of my mother, Asamu. The feeling that Dad was hiding something from me in both the 1st game and this game. In particular, in this game, it was made clear that there were some special circumstances having to do with my birth. Battler proposed that he might be the baby from 19 years ago, and announced that he'd reconstruct the crime with himself as the culprit. As Delanor cautiously held her sword at the ready, she gauged the distance between them. Now that Battler had inherited the position of this world's territory lord and attained the rank of endless sorcerer, his movements surpassed human understanding. By now, the physical distance between them probably accounted for nothing. After all, their extremely agile battle was surpassing the point where the concept of distance made any difference.
Hell yeah.
A good start. Let us hear your theory with Battler as the culprit. Yeah, I'll let you hear it. I'll prove that this explanation also works, and that you can't be certain Aunt Natsuhi is the culprit. This is fucking awesome. I just need you to know that.
Oh, yeah.
Good. If you're supposed to be the culprit, that creates several contradictions. I'll use those contradictions to reap your feeble truth. I, Riddle Erica, the detective and the witch of truth, will...
This time, Erica stepped forward. In her hand, there appeared a scythe like the one a grim reaper might hold. A ruthless scythe for reaping everything that threatened her theory.
It's only possible for the crime to have taken place between 2400 and 1 o'clock. During that 1 hour, you were in the dining hall of the mansion. Therefore, it was impossible for you to commit the crime.
Nothing personnel, kid.
It has not been specified that the time of death was between 2400 and 1 o'clock. Therefore, it is possible that the crime didn't occur between 2400 and 1 o'clock. All the glass breaking.
God, I'm getting shards in my hands. This was stained glass. Like, I'm not religious, but holy shit, there was, like, artistic value to it.
And just so you know, that stuff's held together with lead. Enjoy your metal poisoning.
No! Next, you're gonna tell me the house was made of asbestos. There's a restriction on any murders in the cousin room. From 1 a.m. till the discovery of the crime, it was impossible for any criminal action to occur in the cousin room. Delanor, now!
Nox is 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. If the crime was actually carried out in the cousin room, clues must have been shown. because clues were not given to the detective, Lady Erica, who was on the watch for any abnormalities inside that room until morning. Such a crime is impossible.
So it wasn't carried out there.
By the time of the crime's discovery, you mean the point at which I led her to scream and everyone gathered there. Even if it was impossible to kill them before that point, it was impossible to kill them afterwards.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, you'd have to like hustle, but he could do it.
Battler used a blue flash to deflect both the red truths that Erica and Delano had flung at him. Erica's eyes went wide. After all, what he had said was completely absurd. At that time, they still hadn't been killed? Even the corpses with their necks sliced open were laying right there?
The death of the four in the cousin room has been proclaimed with the red text. Are you trying to use the illusion of the witch? You tried to resurrect George and the others using the concept of magic even though they were dead at the time?
I see. Since you believe they were dead by that point, it probably looks as though the dead have been brought back to life by you. So this might look like magic in your eyes. In that case, I won't be the one to take the next shot at you.
Fool! How often do I have to say it? The deaths of the four people in the cousin room have been proclaimed with the red truth! Furthermore, those corpses were witnessed by a large number of people. Furthermore, it's already been proclaimed in red that no examination of any corpses would lead to a mistaken result. Take that, dead people!
Take that, dead people. Fuck you for being dead. Erica's having such a normal one.
When was that red truth made? Have you forgotten, miss? Also, someone put on Dream and Discharger by ZTS. We're about to have a badass motherfucking sequence up in here.
The fierce shower of red was blocked by a magical barrier set up by Runaway, who suddenly appeared right in front of Battler. Now that Beato was gone, the demons shouldn't have been able to manifest themselves in the real world. However, he existed here, and calmly dealt with Erica's attack.
You! Runaway! How did you get here? Well, who cares? This all works out nicely. Now there's no need to go looking for you. I'll capture you here and deny your existence, too!
I'll leave it to you. Teach her that you can't control everything with a single arrogant truth.
Yes, your majesty. Well then, allow me to be your opponent for a bit. What do you say, miss?
In that case, when do you claim the Red Truth Death Proclamation happened? You say you can pinpoint that? You can't pinpoint it, so you deny that the Death Proclamation was made at the time of the crime's discovery.
When this court was opened, Lady Lambda Delta made a proclamation. She said this was a 2400 answer session. The death proclamation was made at 2400 on the second day. In other words, at the end of the game. That does not deny the possibility that the murder occurred after the morning of the second day, after the so-called discovery of the crime.
Then you're saying that the victims were alive at the time, even though their necks were sliced open?
Did you see that yourself, Miss Detective? True, our current understanding is that no corpse will lead to a mistaken examination, no matter who performs it, but no rule name so far has prevented something other than a corpse from being called a corpse.
Erica swung her scythe recklessly, but Runaway blocked everything with elegant gestures that made the shield on one of his hands.
So, at that point in time, no one was dead? There weren't even wounds on their necks. Hey, Becky's why did Battler scream?
Battler, better watch your feet, little girl. Ushiromiya Kinzo is already dead at the starting time for all games.
Huh? Duh?
A pitch black hole opened up beneath Erica's feet and swallowed her up. She could probably see through to the other side of the hole. It was the same thing you'd see if you looked down out of the skylight on the ceiling of this cathedral. Leah!
Yes.
Virgilia could already be seen in midair inside the cathedral. Is that smothered mate?
Yeah. Virgilia's divine spear is named Smothered Mate.
What the
fuck?
fuck?
That's awesome.
Fucking God.
As Erica fell from the heavens, Virgilia was right below her and caught her on the end of a divine spear that sparkled blue.
Shouldn't you rethink your reasoning? Kinzo doesn't exist. Therefore, the way for the bodies to disappear in your theory is a failure.
Unless someone other than Kinzo makes the corpses disappear, your theory fails.
God damn it. This is nothing.
Virgilia's blue divine spear skewered and pinned Erica in midair. Erica struggled, filled with hatred, but she couldn't get it out easily. Then all around her, several small, fast things clanged off the walls and enveloped her.
Oh yeah? They're back!
The 7 people manifested themselves at once. We are the 7 sisters of purgatory, bitch. Know this foe of our master.
You lowly paperweights.
After George's death, his corpse was never moved. After Jessica's death, her corpse was never moved. After Maria's death, her corpse was never moved. After Rosa's death, her corpse was never moved. After Genji's death, his corpse was never moved. And after Krause's death, his corpse was never moved. Therefore, the corpses couldn't have vanished after being discovered. Your theory about Kinzo carrying the corpses away fails. Later, bench.
But so what? Even without Kinzo, I can explain how the corpse is... Rude, Erica. After it dies, my theory... The detective dies.
Erica was probably capable of escaping this even with Kinzo's existence denied, and making only a small revision to her theory. However, to her, having to revise the theory as she had already created was extremely humiliating. Have you figured out that Erica's a stand-in for the players yet? Have you figured it out yet?
Looks like you toyed around with your plan too much in order to corner Natsuhi like that.
You played around too much with your reasoning. At this point, your master isn't the only one who can speak of Kinzo's death with the red truth.
This is what you get for playing around in the witch's darkness. Know that, Furudo Erica?
As I believe a wise man once said, you fucked around and you found out.
Of course, even Erica had doubted Kinzo's existence from the beginning. However, it had previously been impossible for anyone to deny his existence in that trial, except for Burncastle and Lambda Delta, who had sided with each other. And because of their willful silence of those two, the truth about Kinzo had been unfixed. And you have to think that Battler had become a witch, a sorcerer, and capable of using red without proof. However, she had her own Inquisitor of Heresy, who could also use red without proof to counter. Nox's second. It is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be employed as a detective technique. If you would show that Kinzo has died with the red truth, then I demand that you display proof of a human's truth that could be used to make that point. Forgive me, you damn geezer.
Overcome it, Battler. Don't let my corpse stop you.
Presentation of evidence. I'll present a corpse that could possibly be identified as Ushiromiya Kinzo's. Can you prove that this corpse is Ushiromiya Kinzo's? No matter how much it resembles him, unless you can prove that it is him, it is possible for someone else to claim that it was a substitute corpse from someone else. Can you show that it was Kinzo's corpse with the truth of humans? In this case alone, and with the red truth specifically, no counter-argument will be valid.
Ooh, any counter with the red truth will be invalid?
You can just do that?
I guess that works.
Wait, you could just do that? It's fucking bullshit. It may be true that the existence of a third-party corpses has already been denied with the red. However, saying that with the red is forbidden. Battler has nowhere to run to. That's right. In this closed-off Rokkenjima, there is no objective way to show that this corpse is grandfather's. And that itself suggests the possibility that this corpse is a body double. This unidentifiable corpse cannot serve as proof of Kinzo's death. Can you see it? Can you see what's about to happen? Can you see what's about to happen here?
No.
She just violated one of the Decalogue.
Checkmate. My theory does not waver.
Delano had sealed off the Red Truth as a means of proving that Kinzo's corpse had been shown. Even with the power of witches, Battler couldn't argue back. How are you going to prove that the corpse was Kinzo's if the Red Truth is sealed? It's impossible. It can't be done.
With red or blue, right? Oh, yeah? Yeah!
I guarantee that this corpse is Ushiromiya Kinzo's corpse. Fuckers.
New color of truth just dropped.
Then, when Delanor met with Battler's golden flash, she was unable to fully block it with either her red longsword or her blue shortsword, and she was blown backwards into empty space. It was a direct hit without any miscalculation. Though she had always seemed as firm as a small giant before now, she was finally blasted away and slammed against the wall as though she was the slender girl she appeared to be.
A small giant. I love that turn of phrase.
Delanor, what are you?
A splendid gold truth. It is valid.
Cold truth?
The golden longsword, which had been drawing red and blue trails before now, finally drew a curve that retained its divine golden color. The truth it showed was neither red nor blue. It was gold truth. What? Hold on. Lambda, what was in this pipe you gave me? What is
Who
that?
knows?
Lambda, this is follow the rules.
Yes. Gold truth valid. He's become a libertarian debate lord.
Oh,
He knows that gold is the only truth.
Oh, fuck. Is that why he was reading Atlas Shrugged?
The gold truth can only be used by the territory lord of this world. No, only by the game master himself.
Didn't I call at some point that Battler was going to have to do the Moitas himself at one point?
Yeah, you absolutely did.
What did you say?
Gold truth. A divine truth woven in a different fashion than the red truth. Its strength is on par with the red truth. It may sometimes be inferior, but it is sometimes superior.
That glitter is proof that Battler-kun truly understands Beato.
I've shown it. Shown that the corpse is grandfather's.
Yes.
Gold truth.
Accepted.
Unless Lady Erica's theory undergoes some revision, it will be
Destroyed.
What the?
Erica cried out in pain. It wasn't the pain of her body being pierced. It was the pain of her own theory being defiled. I see. It's like, and then there were no acroids. Just when did this? What a crazy mashup of great works.
Battler, it would be excessively unrefined to say any more. Even without saying another word, you've fully made your truth about the corpse's disappearance understood. I see, that thing you're thinking of doesn't conflict with any of the red in this trial so far. Your truth based around the revenge of the man from 19 years ago has been completely understood and processed. I proclaim that your truth has now been established.
What the fuck? Why is that great the antidote? He still hasn't explained everything. I still have many ways to argue back, like Hideyoshi's closed room, the seal on Natsuki's personal room, and the button in the closet.
Do you really still think you're capable of defeating Battler's argument?
Only Erica, the one who was supposedly so intelligent, couldn't understand. She couldn't understand that Battler had already reached the real truth.
Because of this, grandfather's absence has been verified, and the dishonorable relationship between Aunt Natsuhi and grandfather has been removed from consideration. Aunt Natsuhi is pure and faithful. I will permit this vulgar tale you're all so fond of.
Battler-kun.
Where the fuck did you come from?
I
Holy
don't rightly
fuck.
know.
Furthermore, because we've raised doubts about the time of death for all who have died so far, the alibis for everyone besides Aunt Natsuhi go back to square goddamn one.
Damn.
You try to argue with the crime, it's impossible for everyone except Aunt Natsuhi. It won't work.
Thalanor, who must have risen to her knees at some point, slowly stood up. The flash from the golden longsword was still buried deep into her chest. Though pain didn't show in her expression, her awkward movements clearly showed how serious the damage she had taken was. Even though she herself knew that the match was long over by now, Thalanor didn't abandon her duty. However, in the cousin room you witnessed corpses that were impossible to misidentify. Are you trying to say that that was a lie? Nox is 7th. It is forbidden for the detective to be the culprit. The detective is obligated to keep to an objective point of view. Your theory would mean that you violated this obligation.
Furuto Erika is the detective, and the me in this game isn't one. And by Nox's 9th, it is permitted for observers to let their own conclusions and explanations be heard.
Nox is 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Until now, you have been the detective. Was it ever shown that you were not the detective this time, and that you were an observer capable of inserting his own personal ideas? Unless it was, you do not have the right to falsify your point of view.
In this game, when I figured out the device connected to the epitaph's riddle, I witnessed grandfather. It has already been shown in red, grandfather doesn't exist. It was impossible for me to witness him. Therefore, it has already been shown that my viewpoint wasn't objective.
Got him.
Objective, Your Honor. Wait, hold on. I'm still getting used to this.
It is possible that it was just a sheet or something fluttering in the wind and rain, which you mistook for Kinzo. It cannot be used as foreshadowing to form a basis for Nox's 9th. Mistaking one thing for another is a right permitted to all observers.
There's the red truth that Beato shared during the 4th game. No person would mistake Ushiromiya Kinzo by sight.
It's the red truth Beato used to counter my blue truth claim that someone disguised themselves as Kinzo, to make it seem as though grandfather had appeared. In other words, on this island, all illusions that might lead someone to mistake something for grandfather, including someone else pretending to be grandfather, most certainly cannot work. All of Aunt Natsuhi's schemes make it seem like grandfather existed where grandfather existed were hidden in the relatives' blind spots. All of them clever tricks like he was just here a second ago, or he's in his study alone now. They never tried to make anyone mistake something they saw for grandfather himself, so there are no contradictions. If they had tried to dress one of the servants in grandfather's robe, it probably would have been seen through in an instant. It has been guaranteed that none of the characters in this tale would mistake something for grandfather by sight. If someone claims to have seen grandfather despite that, it becomes a lie. Allowing lies to be contained within their observations is a right granted to everyone, except for just one person. And that person is the detective.
Because of the right guaranteed by Nox's 9th, anyone is allowed to mistake a sheet in the wind for something else and tell about it. However, mistaking it for grandfather in particular is not permitted in this game due to the red truth.
So once you claim to have seen Kinzo, it was no longer misrecognition, but intentional. In other words, this proves the observer was not objective. Is that what you are saying? In this case, unintentional misrecognition is not permitted by the rules of this game. However, it is possible to intentionally lie about seeing something you never saw. And that is an action not permitted to a detective, who is obligated to maintain an impartial perspective.
I'm glad we got to that much earlier in our theorizing, the idea that you can easily dodge those red truths about what people couldn't have been mistaken about if they simply weren't mistaken but were lying.
Yeah, that was something that we had talked about before.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did
I'm glad we were on the right track there.
in there.
Forgive my crazy argument. It's all finished now.
No, it is
Okay.
because men like you exist in this
World.
You will surely protect the fragile truth from any kind of
Right.
You will surely protect the real truth from the tyranny of any plausible truth that might claim to exist as the sole truth and try to exterminate all fragile
Truths.
Battler's golden longsword drew a massive blue arc as though splitting the heavens. I am glad that I could fight with
You.
Therefore, my perspective in this game is based upon the 9th, not the 7th. The fact that I claim to have seen Grandfather is proof!
The noise that rang out across the cathedral was the sound of Delanor's longsword clattering to the floor. Simply letting go of that was the same as resigning to the proud Delanor. But the blue trail Battler had drawn was aiming right for the top of Delanor's head. It stopped a hair's breadth away. If it hadn't, Delanor probably would have been annihilated without leaving a single scrap of flesh behind. I give up on denying your truth.
I've paid my debt. Let honor be to your father. The Decalogue was neither arrogant nor judgmental. Anyway, you want to play D&D sometime?
Honor to my...
Father.
And yes, that sounds most...
Delightful.
Delanor sat down on the floor and completely abandoned her will to fight.
What are you doing, Delanor? You pathetic little half-wit murder doll. You've tainted the honor of your own father. Shame on you. You still call yourself Mysteries Wedges? You surrendered to magic. The history of the mystery genre won't allow that.
You're the one that doesn't understand what mystery is all about. If you see mystery as nothing more than a weapon with which to sneer at your opponent intellectually, I won't let you ever say so again. I'll present a truth that conflicts with yours. Aunt Natsuhi was threatened by a phone call over the internal line sent by the man from 19 years ago, me. His goal was to make Aunt Natsuhi look like a murderer. From the beginning, this has all been a drama of revenge intent on framing Aunt Natsuhi.
That's wrong. It's trauma of revenge against the Ushirumiya family that Natsuhi thought of. Your theory outright opposes mine.
You still can't pull the blue spear that's sticking through you, right?
Yeah, that's right. From Erica, I haven't heard of a single way for the corpses to disappear that doesn't involve Kinzo. It looks like your theory's about to be denied, doesn't it?
This spear is just... You paperweights. Get out of my way!
The deeply piercing blue spear and the 7 red stakes tormented her theory. They won't come out. They won't come out. I acknowledge the mistake in Erica's reasoning and need for revision.
What? My master!
Watching Erica's face contort with pain as she struggled to escape from the spear, Berncastle spoke with this with a disgusted expression. Faced with the facts, Berncastle had acknowledged Erica's loss herself. Erica gazed at her master, who was no longer confident in Erica's own victory, with a mixture of shock and despair. I don't give a damn about your pride. How long do you intend to shame yourself like that? You, my double, who's been granted the same blue hair as me. How long do you intend to hang there, pierced through with that, huh? I guess I'll just have to descend myself. Looks like I don't need a piece after all. What a pain, what a pain, what a total pain. I don't need a piece, I'll just throw it away. Yeah, that dreadful, discouraging, hopeless letdown of a misfire. Do it quickly, Phil. Didn't I tell you to revise that pathetic theory of yours?
Yes, my master. I'll revise my theory. Yeah.
As Erica's face twisted in humiliation and tears streamed from her eyes, she withdrew and revised her own theory in accordance with her master's order. Mumbling quietly, she made various revisions with the blue truth, had them acknowledged by Lambda Delta, and finally had the blue spear smashed. It was freed. Though that blue truth did indeed explain how the corpses had disappeared, it couldn't conceal its desperation. It was a bit of a truly shabby reasoning.
My master, I have taken it out. The theory is perfect.
Are you kidding me? It's horribly pathetic. But I'll forgive you. Because your faith and your theory are so terrible, it's funny. Yeah. Erica was taunted by her master, who wore an ugly expression. She thrashed about on the floor, crying bitter tears. The wounded Delanor stepped out before her, as though shielding her, and she spoke to Burncastle as well as Battler. Regardless of how pathetic it might be, Lady Erica's revised truth is valid.
Yeah, that's right. Regardless of my truth, yours can exist at the same time. That's what this world is like. No one can disprove them, so even if there are various truths and even if they contradict each other wildly, they can exist at the same time. Here as many truths exist as you can imagine. No one can just deny that all on their own.
Yes.
That is true. I won't let anyone deny Lady Erica.
Delanor!
As long as I am here, I will protect that truth. No matter how pathetic it is, I will not laugh at that truth. The words of Delanor, whom Erica had previously looked down upon, led Erica to once again thrash about on the floor, sobbing.
And because no unique truth exists, everything is covered in darkness. Therefore, while both my theory and Erica's theory are impossible to deny, neither is a unique truth. They are vague, and while neither can be denied, neither is certain. Because there has been no decision, the illusion of the witch still exists. The only one who will be permitted to expose it is neither Erica nor the rest of you. It is me alone. I won't let anyone expose Beatrice's illusion except for me.
The verdict is revised. Because of the truth presented by Ushiromiya Battler, Erica's truth is no longer unique. However, Erica's truth is impossible to disprove. Therefore, both of their truths exist together. The conclusion of the fifth game is rescinded. The game goes back to being even, and I transfer the position of the game master from myself to the golden sorcerer, Ushiromiya Battler. Ushiromiya Battler, step forward. I appoint you as the new game master. Will you accept? You will, right? Do it, you new endless witch.
But I haven't read all the rulebooks yet.
Fuck the rules.
Well, that explains how this game went, actually. Yeah, I'm the new game master, bitch. I'll weave the 6th game. Erica, let's settle things for good this time. Stand up.
Yes, I will stand. I'll make you regret giving me a chance to clear away the shame. My master, please give me the opportunity to fight with Battler again in the 6th game.
Yeah, fuck it, whatever. Of course I'll give you a chance.
Wow, incredible. She said, I'll give you a chance. Isn't this a miracle? From the Witch of Miracles, Burncastle.
No, see, the thing is, everyone already in the fandom already loves her, so we can't, take her out now. Erica, you've miraculously managed to escape with your life. In the 6th game, Battler's game, expose the truth no matter what, unless you want to be tossed aside into the darkness of oblivion.
Yeah. Yes, my master. Delanor.
Of course. I will give it my all in the next game as well.
I won't pretend to be just any longer. Together with Delanor, I'll tear your game to bits.
Sure, I'll invite you to my 6th game. Sorry, but that title of yours, Checkmate of the whatever, isn't cutting it.
It's your game. You can decide the name yourself. Just bring it on. Naruto, Erica. I'm a detective before I am a witch. I acknowledge you as the new master of this game, and I issue a proclamation of war. I definitely expose it all. I'll kill you, Golden Sorcerer Ushiromiya Battler.
Yeah, come at me with all you've got. Naruto, Erica. I'm not yelling your name. You don't deserve it.
Oh, fuck you.
Just watch, Beato. I'll take charge of your game. And in this next game, I'll prove that I completely understand all of your riddles.
Hell yeah. Oh, Erica, everybody's chew toy.
Oh my god.
Erica's literally only there for everybody else to kick her around and step on her until they feel better.
Wait, hold on. I know this. This is Tsubasa, right? The vocal version.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. This one is a fucking banger. Also, I want you to know my throat is fucking destroyed after that. That was
Yeah?
3 hours of me constantly shifting,
Yeah.
and I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
This, I've heard this track because I have the Die soundtrack, the Music Box Blue. But this is the first time we've heard it in game, and it is. And then the keyboard solo. Yeah, it's so good. Oh, I fucking love this. Anyway, hope you guys are enjoying this. We are having a great time. Yeah, that's all I got for you. We'll see you on the 6th game board.
Yeah.
Before the credits are over and we have to end the episode. If you haven't already, please do for this series like videos, comment, subscribe. I know it's the thing, but but really it helps us out with YouTube algorithm, with getting discovered on YouTube, and we're really close to breaking 1,000 subscribers. So that would mean a lot to us. If you appreciate the work we do, just boost us a little bit and help us get there. That would mean the world to us, and I'm glad that we can entertain y'all time after time. It really does make me happy to do this.
Before we sign off, should we check if there's anything fresh in the tips?
Yeah, why don't we check the tips one last time?
We just got them unlocked, so. Got the execute and resurrect buttons now. Okay.
There we go. There's 556.
Yeah.
A weapon of the Sisters' Cavalry, which serves Pendragon. 556 was quiet and often teased, but she was loved by everyone. However, her luck was always bad, and she met a tragic end in a battle against the Black Witch. She was a cutting-edge weapon unique in the Sisters' Cavalry, which tended to serve as honor guards. 556 was in charge of the fire support. She shot not to kill, but to protect her allies. There she is. Quiet girl who always teased by everybody. But that's because everyone loves her. The trumpet is her specialty. Everyone skips to her lively tune.
Okay, no executing or resurrecting there.
I mean, can you blame me for trying?
I can't. We gotta try.
Hey, Beato, how you doing? There it is. The Beatrice on the highest plane and the one who created this world. In the 4th game, she entrusted everything to Battler and abandoned her position as game master. She even lost the will to express herself, to say nothing of the will to fight, and is now little more than a doll. In the world of the game board, those who do not fight have no significance. Her existence has been growing insubstantial, and it will probably break down and disappear before too long. Do we get executions for the non-executed characters?
Let's find out. We don't, huh? What about Kinzo?
Okay, cool.
But we do for those. Okay.
Yeah, and they're the same ones we got.
Okay.
All right.
Anything in the tips? The Decalogue.
There it is.
Finally, I knew they'd give it to us sooner or later.
I mean, we've already seen... Noxus 5th is not included. What is Nox's fifth?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Whatever. Yeah, we don't have... we're gonna need some time to process this.
It's forbidden for unknown drugs to be used, but if you know about drugs, it's fine to use as many as you want.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these can be flouted if you have foreshadowing of it beforehand.
Mhm.
That's part of the point they were bringing, is that, yeah, it can be the drug as long as people... It's like, it's just, like, you don't want an ass pull, right? You don't want something you couldn't have seen coming, because that just doesn't feel satisfying for anyone.
Yep.
Alright, I'm tired. I'm gonna end this right now. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on episode 6.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.